Hello friends, welcome back to a milestone episode of Movies and Melodies. It's our 4th anniversary today. I am so happy and I'm so thankful to all of you for helping me and encouraging me to keep going. Since this is a jubilee of sorts, I decided that this episode would be about the two Jubilee stars of Bollywood, Rajendra Kumar Tuli and Asha Parekh. Rajendra Kumar was born in Sialkot in British India at that time, current day Pakistan, in 1927. He was born to a very wealthy family. His grandfather, Chhajjuram Tuli, he actually obtained a military contract from the British during World War I. He ran all the military canteens in the Middle East, made a ton of money, came back to Sialkot, established a cloth business, and he expanded this into Karachi as well later on. And he and his son, Lakshmi Chandji, ran this business very capably. Rajendra Ji's grandfather was a very disciplined man and led a very simple life, but his father, Lakshmi Chandji, was very flamboyant and he loved, spending his money on his friends, entertaining them, living a life of luxury and style. So Rajendra Ji grew up in this kind of very luxurious and pampered kind of a household. He was a good student, but fascinated by movies, right from, I guess, his first movie, which he watched when he was 5 years old. And he saw himself as a hero in these movies. So that was his ambition even as a very young child. He took part, of course, in school plays and so on, and he did very well at school, graduated, enrolled at Haley College in Lahore to do a course in commerce. When he was in his second year of college, that was when disaster struck. 1947. India gained its independence from the British. Pakistan was born. This upended life for the Tulis. They left about 2 to 2.5 weeks after independence. They left Sialkot with barely anything, their clothes on their back and maybe a little bit of money and a few personal possessions, and they walked the 70+ kilometers to the Indian border to cross into India. He went with his parents, his 3 younger brothers and his 2 younger sisters, and it was a very grueling and very traumatic journey because, at that time there were these horrible massacres going on both sides. So these were the visuals that this young man had as he walked into India. He has left behind a life of immense luxury, now to start leading a life of depressing poverty and also sort of a huge lowering in status, where he's gone from being a prosperous citizen of a country to now being a refugee. This was very difficult for the whole family, for him in particular, because he felt that he was old enough to be able to earn a living, yet he was unable to find a job. He had some money in a bank account that he had transferred from Sialkot into Shimla before independence, luckily, but the bank had some difficulties during this whole, birthing of a nation, or 2 nations, I should say, and he had to wait to receive some of this money. So he felt very helpless and kind of like a burden on his father. His father had, with great difficulty, after a few months of living in refugee tents in Amritsar, they came to Delhi and they were still in a refugee tent there for several months, petitioning the government for a home to live in. And then finally in the Sabzi Mandi area, they got a small, 2-room home. And Lakshmi Chandji set up this cloth business because that was all he knew. And he was a very determined, strong man. So he said, you know, I'm going to go back to what I know best. And he started this cloth business. And somehow the family was, you know, kind of going along. Rajendra Ji's younger sister took on sewing jobs for all the neighborhood women and children. And all of this made him tremendously depressed. During this time, this was, I would say, like late 1948 maybe, one of his father's friends had come home to visit them, and he was very impressed by this strapping young man and told him that he would find him a job in the police department, and in fact did so. He got him the job of assistant sub-inspector. Now Rajendra Ji's heart was not, you know, in this. He did not want to be a policeman. His heart was still aching to be a hero, or at least something in the film industry. So fortune decided now to start smiling upon this young man, and in the form of one of his old college friends, showed up and begged him to move to Bombay to help with this ad agency. So Rajendra Ji's father, you know, gave him his blessings and said, if you go into the movies, remember, you always have to behave like a gentleman. This is an industry that can turn your head and you could, you know, misbehave. So remember that you always have to be disciplined, you have to be a gentleman, you have to lead a life of great decency and honor. So these were words that Rajendra Ji followed all through his life. He went to Bombay and started the rounds of going to film studios to try and find a job. So for my first song, I would like to share, this is from one of his early movies. It released in 1959, Goonj Uthi Shehnai. It was a tragedy, but a super, super hit, and it was his first hit as a lead hero. The movie was about a young Shehnai player and how his life plays out, sadly ending in tragedy. And Amita, who was gaining popularity at that time, was his heroine. And interestingly enough, actually, Asha Parekh was initially selected to be his heroine in this movie, even shot a few scenes, and then was, for some unknown reason, dropped from the movie. He actually did a very good job playing this young Shehnai player. The music in this movie is fantastic. Vasant Desai with Bharat Vyas's lyrics. There are some fabulous Shehnai pieces by the late Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahab, and some very, very beautiful vocal pieces as well by the late Ustad Amir Khan Sahab. Movie definitely worth watching. So for the first song, it's a duet, Lata Ji, Rafi Sahab, Jeevan mein piya tera saath rahe.
जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे, जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे,
हाथों में तेरे मेरा हाथ रहे,
हाथों में तेरे मेरा हाथ रहे, जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे, जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे।
हाथों में तेरे मेरा हाथ रहे,
हाथों में तेरे मेरा हाथ रहे, जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे, जीवन में पिया तेरा साथ रहे.
Rajinder ji did not find it easy in Bombay. It was a huge struggle. He made all the rounds of all the film studios and so on, just was not able to get a job. In the meanwhile, it turns out his friend, who he was helping at the ad agency as well, turned out to be a fraud. He was cheating this young man, not paying him on time and so on. So he ended up, fighting with his friend and moving away from him. Sadly, however, he was still not able to get a job. He was literally living on the streets. So he was sleeping on the pavement. He would somehow find a place to go wash his clothes and, somehow iron it somewhere and so on. It was very, very hard. He was not able to eat for several days because he had no money. Finally, his cousin, who lived in Shimla and who was very good friends with him, wrote him a letter. This was very fortuitous. What had happened was his cousin had met the famous lyricist Rajinder Krishan sometime in Shimla during some function or the other. He spoke to him about Rajendra Kumar, and Rajinder Krishan was a very kind man and always very supportive and encouraging of anybody trying to make a career in the movies, told Rajinder ji's cousin to send this young man to him. So Rajinder Kumar took this letter, went to famous studios and met with Rajinder Krishan, who employed him immediately as sort of a general dog's body, for lack of a better word. What his job was to write fair copies of Rajinder Krishan's scripts and dialogues and so on, in the sense that Rajinder ji would write something. Rajendra Kumar's job was to make sure that was written out neatly and properly, grammatically correct and so on, and then hand it to the director or the dialogue assistant, whoever was in charge of whatever he was handling, and give it to them, and they would hand it over to the stars. So this went on for a bit, and Rajinder Krishan in the meanwhile was making sure that he talked to various people about this young man, and he finally introduced him to Harnam Singh Ravel, who was a very famous director. And H.S. Ravel Saab liked this young man and gave him the job of second assistant director for this movie that he was going to start called Patanga. This starred the late Sham and Nigar Sultana ji in this. And Rajendra Kumar really took to this life of direction. He was very good. He had a good eye and he was a very obedient assistant, and really studied everything that H.S. Ravel Saab did, and soon was promoted to assistant director. Interestingly enough, he also got a walk-on role in this movie. I think it was barely a line that he had to deliver, all of maybe 3 minutes in the scene. But hey, it was a role. He was doing very well, though not in what he wanted to do in the movies. He was making good money. He was able to send money home to support his family. So things were looking up, but not quite where he wanted to be. He even got a fairly large supporting role as Dilip Kumar's friend in Jogan. Got noticed, people appreciated his role. In fact, people would stop him on the streets and ask him for his autograph, but he was still not offered a hero's role. Finally, after a long time, Devendra Goyal had noticed him and told him that when he made his next movie, he would hire him. On the social side of his life, things were going well. His friend, one of his college friends from Sialkot, had come to visit in Bombay. He had a relative who lived there, and so he came by to see Rajendra Kumar, and he said, "Oh, come along, meet my aunt and her family. At least that way you'll have somebody you can go to for home cooked food, all of that stuff." So he goes to this lady's house, Shrimati Kartar Devi Bahel, and she liked this young man a lot. She saw that he was doing well in whatever he was, working at. He was a decent young man. His manner was good and all of this stuff. So she finally asked him if he would be interested in marrying her younger daughter, Shukla. Now, Rajendra ji had noticed this young girl, very, very pretty young woman. He liked her a lot. And when this proposal came, he really wanted to go through with it, but he wanted to talk to his parents. So he told his parents about this young girl. They saw her photograph, liked her so much via the photo that they were very happy to welcome her into the family. So at the end of 1954, he got married to her. And in the meanwhile, he had got a small role, but a significant role in a movie called Vachan, which starred Geeta Bali and Balraj Sahani. So after finishing shooting for that movie, he got married. And in early 1955, Vachan was released and it became a silver jubilee hit and a star was born. The success of this movie brought him a lot of attention and a lot of roles, more importantly. Someone had told him that if he got married to Shukla, his fortunes would change, and it certainly seemed that way. He received a ton of offers, and Goon Jhuthi Shehnai being one of the movies that firmly put him into the A-lister list. The next song that I want to share with you is from Dhool Ka Phool. It's a B.R. Chopra movie released, I want to say, end of the 50s, 59, something like that. It starred him with Mala Sinha and Nandaji opposite him. It's actually a negative role. He plays a young college student who falls in love with his classmate, Mala Sinha. She gets pregnant and then he abandons her to marry a wealthy girl. Now this young lady, she's thrown out of her house, obviously, and she has to abandon this baby in order to move on in her life. Now both of these people get married to other people, Ashok Kumar in Mala Sinha's case, Nandaji in Rajendra Kumar's case, and later on they both cannot have any children, so they fight over the custody of this child that they will have abandoned. It's a very interesting movie. B.R. Chopra was always a big one for bringing to the forefront all kinds of social injustices. The movie was a super hit and the songs were fantastic. It was N. Datta's music with Sahir Saab's lyrics. So this duet that I want to share, Asha ji, Mahendra Kapoor, धड़कने लगे दिल की तारों की दुनिया.
धड़कने लगे दिल की तारों की दुनिया, धड़कने लगे दिल की तारों की दुनिया.
जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो,
जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो,
संवर जाए हम बेकरारों की दुनिया, संवर जाए हम बेकरारों की दुनिया. जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो,
जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो. आहा, ला 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 ला, आहा, ला 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 ला.
सितारों की उजली कतारें हंसे.
जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो नजारे हंसे, जवां धड़कनों के इशारे हंसे, जवां धड़कनों के इशारे हंसे. धड़कने लगे दिल के तारों की दुनिया,
संवर जाए हम बेकरारों की दुनिया. जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो,
जो तुम मुस्कुरा दो. आहा,
ला 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 ला.
Rajendra Kumar's career grew in leaps and bounds. He did extremely well through his 20-year career. There may have been a couple of, not very successful movies, but he retained the tag of Jubilee Kumar all through his entire filmy career. He had a very happy and fulfilled life, led a very, very full life. He died just a couple of weeks before his 72nd birthday in 1999, July. He and his wife were a very happy couple. She was very, very supportive and took care of everything for him, non-professional stuff. Very, very capable and strong lady. They had 3 children, his son Kumar Gaurav and 2 daughters, Dimple and Kajal. Kumar Gaurav had a brief stint in the movies as a hero and then went on to do movie production and other businesses. And Rajendra ji, continued to lead a very full life even after he retired from movies. He had his friends, he had his businesses, he was an active man. So for the last song on Rajendra Kumar today, I want to share one from Talash. This was towards the tail end of his career, 1969. He co-starred with Sharmila Tagore. It was kind of a mystery movie, in that the mystery was that the heroine appears to have a double. Movie was very, very entertaining. Everyone was good in it. It's a cute rom-com-ish type movie. Music was lovely. Majroo Saab's lyrics with S.D. Burman's music. And the duet that I want to share with you, it's a Lata Rafi duet, beautiful song. पलकों के पीछे से क्या तूने कह डाला,
पलकों के पीछे से क्या तुमने कह डाला, फिर से तो फरमाना।
नैनों ने सपनों की महफिल सजाई है, तुम भी जरूर आना।
पलकों के पीछे से क्या तुमने कह डाला, फिर से तो फरमाना। तौबा मेरी तौबा, मुश्किल था एक तो पहले ही दिल का बहलना। आफत फिर उस पे लट में तुम्हारा मुखड़ा छिपा के चलना। हाय तौबा मेरी तौबा, मुश्किल था एक तो पहले ही दिल का बहलना। आफत फिर उस पे लट में तुम्हारा मुखड़ा छिपा के चलना।
ऐसे ना बोलो पड़ जाए मुझको शर्माना।
पलकों के पीछे से क्या तुमने कह डाला, फिर से तो फरमाना।
हो नैनों ने सपनों की महफिल सजाई है, तुम भी जरूर आना।
पलकों के पीछे से क्या तुमने कह डाला, फिर से तो फरमाना।
We now come to our second Jubilee star, Asha Parekh. She was born on the 2nd of October 1942 in Bombay. Her parents were Salma Ibrahim Lakdawala and Bachubhai Motilal Parekh. Her mother was a Bora Muslim, her father was a Gujarati Vaishnav Hindu. Obviously, lots of parental opposition from both ends, but they both eloped and got married. They initially had a bit of a struggle, financial struggle and stuff, because he was, not in a very high-paying job. But things improved. He was a hardworking man, and they had this wonderful little girl who changed things around regarding the parental opposition part of things, as kids always have a habit of doing. Grandparents cannot resist a grandchild. And Asha ji was a very lively, happy child, very confident, very bubbly, very mischievous, and very captivating. So her paternal grandfather in particular absolutely adored her and was very indulgent towards this young girl. She was always interested in dancing and performing on stage, acting, all of these things. She used to perform regularly in all her school functions. So in 1952, Bimalda happened to be at one of her school functions and watched this little girl act and dance and sing on stage so confidently. He was quite enchanted and decided to cast her in his movie Ma. This starred Bharat Bhushan and Shyama. Her mother was initially not very happy about it, but Bimalda, told her that he would take care of Asha ji, and he wanted the mother as well on the set to make sure everything was above board. So Asha ji went on to act in, I think, probably 7, 8 movies as a child star. She loved it, and in 1959 she got her big break as a lead star in Dil De Ke Dekho. This was a Filmalaya production, and Nasir Hussain, who used to be an assistant director until then, finally got his first break to be a full-fledged director and direct his first film, Dil De Ke Dekho. This had Shami Kapoor as the lead, and he cast Asha Parekh opposite him. It was to be absolutely momentous for this young girl. The movie released coincidentally on her 17th birthday and was a Silver Jubilee hit, and the Jubilee girl was born. It's actually quite incredible when you think about how young she was and how poised and how confident and mature she appears in the movie while delivering her dialogues, and even in scenes where all these veteran stars are around her, Shami Kapoor of course, and Sulochana ji, a whole bunch of older seasoned character actors, and yet she holds her own. In fact, more than holds her own in the movie, and comes across as this really vibrant screen presence. The movie was a first for music director Usha Khanna as well. So Majroor Saab wrote all the lyrics for the songs, and I'd like to share a duet, Asha ji with Rafi Saab, Pyar Ki Kasam Hai.
प्यार की कसम है न देख ऐसे प्यार से
तू मेरा सनम है कहूँगी मैं पुकार के
प्यार की कसम है न देख ऐसे प्यार से
तू मेरा सनम है कहूँगी मैं पुकार के
गम की भी सदा है जिंदगी
हम सहूंगी चाहूं मैं तेरी
जी कसम तो खाइए मेरी
तेरी कसम चमन मेरी बहार की
प्यार की कसम है न देख ऐसे प्यार से
Asha ji's career just took off after Dil De Ke Dekho. She was flooded with offers. She was actually on a 3-film contract with Filmalaya with Dil De Ke Dekho. But it was not an exclusive contract, which meant she could sign other movie studios as well. And since she was a trained classical dancer, all the southern producers and directors really wanted to sign her on. They loved her work in Dil De Ke Dekho. So in the early 60s, she actually had a lot of southern production houses signing her on. Ghungat, Gharana, all these movies. Gharana was with Rajendra Kumar, Ghungat was with Pradeep Kumar. Ghungat actually was a movie that was based on Rabindranath Thakur's Nauka Dubi, The Wreck. And Beena Rai and Bharat Bhushan were the other two stars involved in the movie. Again, this girl is still very young, not even, 20, I would say, and yet so confident, so able to, be poised and hold her own against all the seasoned actors. So the song that I want to share is from Ghungat. It is Ravi Saab's music with Shakil Saab's lyrics. It's a solo by Lata ji. It's a sad song, but Asha ji manages to emote very, very subtly, very beautifully with the song. She's not like overdoing the weeping, crying kind of a thing, and yet she manages to convey the intensity, the deep intensity of the sadness that she's feeling. Of course, Lata ji's singing is just outstanding. Lage na mora jiya.
Lage na mora jiya, sajna nahi aaye haaye. Lage na mora jiya, sajna nahi aaye haaye. Lage na mora jiya. देख लिए पिया तेरे इरादे, झूठे निकले जा तेरे वादे. देख लिए पिया तेरे इरादे, झूठे निकले जा तेरे वादे. तड़पत तड़पत याद में तेरे नैन मेरे भर आए. नैन मेरे भर आए हाय. लागे ना मोरा जिया, सजना नहीं आए हाय. लागे ना मोरा जिया.
I am not going in detail into Asha ji's career, just like I didn't with Rajendra ji's as well. Both of these require complete other episodes. I'm just glossing over, I should say. She continued to improve not only her acting skills, she looked into how to improve her makeup skills, her costumes. She looked into direction, even production, editing too. And very early on in her career, when she did Chaya with Rishida, since he was an excellent editor, he actually encouraged her to sit with him while he edited and watch how the editing process, enhanced the story. She was interested in her dance always. She learned both Kathak and Bharatnatyam. She had her own dance troupe. She traveled all over the world with them, performing all kinds of dance productions, like dance drama kind of things. Anarkali being one of her most famous ones. She was also into a lot of charities. She even started a charitable hospital for people, underprivileged people and people with financial difficulties. She also worked as the head of the censor board for a time. She was awarded the Dada Saheb Phalke Award in 2020. A woman who has kept busy and active her entire life. Even though she never got married, she continues to lead a very full and busy life. If you haven't read her autobiography, I would encourage you to do so. It's excellent. So for the last song of today's episode, I'm sharing a dance song. How could I not? It's Asha Parekh. Every single one of her movies, I think, had a dance sequence of hers. So this is from Ziddi. 1964 was when it released. She co-starred Joy Mukherjee. And it was an interesting story. It's about this young, sort of a very strong-minded, kind of rebellious girl. And the movie shows her as being this tomboyish character, very physical. And she had to perform a lot of stunts herself in the movie. She had a few accidents as well and hurt herself. But you know, she was game through the whole thing and has really done a fantastic job. It's a movie worth watching. And Joy Mukherjee is, you know, he's cute. And the music, of course, really, really very good. S.D. Burman with Hasrat Jaipuri writing the lyrics for him. This song, it starts off with this intro kind of prelude music, and there's this really wild, crazy, energetic dance that she does. And she's sort of in silhouette, the lights are not fully on her. And then the actual song starts, and it's a very graceful transition into this really beautiful song and dance sequence. She's very, very talented. Lataji has sung this, Raat ka sama jhume chandrama.
रात का समा झूमे चंद्रमा तन मोरा नाचे रे जैसे बिजुरिया रात का समा झूमे चंद्रमा तन मोरा नाचे रे जैसे बिजुरिया रात का समा
That's it for today, folks. Words are truly inadequate when I express my gratitude to all of you for encouraging me and supporting me through these last 4 years. It keeps me going, you know, when I know people are enjoying this, because I love movies, as you can tell. And of course, my family and friends who are absolutely invaluable in their support and love for me. And most of all, Bindu Madhava, who does everything for the show, and his wife Nirmala Madhava, who honestly, I can never repay the amount that they do for me, for the show and as personal friends. So anyway, I will be back in 2 weeks with something else. Until then, remember, music is food for the soul. Keep listening.